This is kind of inspired by some videos I've seen of people who are in retirement or going into retirement when they talk about considering that they would want to go overseas because it's cheaper. I think there's an delusion that it's easier. You see all these Instagram videos of people traveling the world and everything looks exotic and interesting and full of excitement on a daily basis. If you're a tourist, it's different. You're going there to enjoy for a very short period of time. How often do you get at a place and you look around and you say, boy, I could live here? I've done that, and I want to warn you, it's a mistake to go that naive. Whether you're considering working overseas, whether you're considering retiring early overseas, anywhere from 6 months or on, I've got some reality checks to share with you for you to keep in mind. It's something that I've never seen anybody really talk about. They allude to it at times. It's not something specifically spoken about. And this is what I call the expat tax or the foreigner tax. If you're from Asia, they call it the Farang tax. If you're in East Africa, they call it the Mzungu tax. If you're in West Africa, they call it the Tubabouf tax. If you're in Haiti or somewhere Creole, they call it the Blanc tax. I humorously call it the cracker tax. It's a premium you have to pay just because you're a foreigner. And trust me, you will pay it in many different forms. Everybody's got their own stories, everybody's got their details, but you will pay it in some form or another. I'm going to share some of the main ways that you will be paying this tax. This is the invisible premium you pay for being a foreigner. I am 1.5 months into retirement and I am feeling these taxes in spades, and it's much more amplified because I don't have the backup of an organization to support me with certain things. So I'm handling a lot of these things on my own. But I am susceptible to them, and you do feel them, and they can really hit you emotionally. There's some humor in some of these, but pretty serious to consider these. And if you're a tourist, most of the time you won't even care because you're here for a short term, you're having fun, you're infringing on that honeymoon phase that people go through when they do move overseas. In most cases, it's going to hit you emotionally and you're going to feel very exploited. So this isn't a complaint video. Please comment. If you have your own stories or your own taxes you've paid over time, leave a comment. I'd really appreciate that. And don't forget to subscribe. The first tax you're going to pay is higher prices than local. And sometimes these are not hidden. In some cases in Thailand, you will go to parks and there will be a Farang price, a foreigner price, and there will be a local price. I will travel with my wife, and because she could speak Thai and obviously look Thai, she will often get the Thai fare. But I will obviously get the foreigner fare. It doesn't matter that I can speak Thai. It doesn't matter that I have a residence visa. It doesn't matter if I have a work visa. It doesn't matter if I've been there 1 week, 5 weeks, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. I will still pay that tax. Even though I'm working in the country and paying taxes, I will still pay the higher price just because of my passport. And it's not always malicious. You'll have this in temples. Some of the temples you go to, you have a fee for the foreigner and you have a fee for the local person. So if you're coming from a wealthy country and you are wealthy, you might not really feel it. But this starts to hit at your emotional level because you just feel like this is not fair. The other tax you will pay is you will be a target. Some places where you go to visit, this is very, very particular to the red light districts. You walk onto those places and the scavengers are there and they're looking for any kind of weakness. There's a meme that I saw one time where there's this middle-aged white man, 50s or 60s or so, and sitting in a Thailand bar, which is kind of typical, and sitting there and he's surrounded by a couple very attractive women. There's some foreigner women walking by and scoffing. Look at that guy, he's preying on these poor girls. And in reality, their another caption says, he's not the hunter, he's the hunted. He is the prey. And I'm not saying the guy's not a pervert, or I'm not saying the guy doesn't have his issues, but those girls get every little cent out of him. It doesn't even have to be in a bar. I have a friend who lived in Kenya. He went on to experience one of the biggest web of scam I've ever seen someone walk through. He paid for it emotionally and he paid for it dearly financially. What he didn't know was he was playing checkers and she was playing three-dimensional chess. If you want to hear the story about my friend, or I can do a video on that just alone. Taxis in Thailand. The driver will turn off the meter when a foreigner gets in the car. He'll ask you for a flat fee. Legally, they're not allowed to do that. They have to run the meter. If he doesn't, you just get out of the vehicle and go to another one. If you have an accident, you likely will be made fault for the accident, unless there's some overwhelming evidence that you didn't cause it. Police will pull you over. I've ridden down the road on my motorcycle, papers, plates, helmet on, everything, all the lights are working. I've been riding beside someone, a man who's on a motorbike, 3 kids on the back with his wife on the back. It's not a joke. I'll see if I can add a picture here. But this is very common here. None of them have helmets. And the police will pull me over. And they will look through everything to see if they can find something to fine me for. I'd have to pay for the fine on the spot, or they could confiscate my driver's license or any of my papers, and then I'd have to go through the whole ordeal to go to the police station, and there you're going to end up having to pay. And you see the police put the money in their pocket. I've been pulled over more times than I can tell you in Kenya. You don't have home advantage here. Third one is a social tax. You will never belong, no matter how much you try to be part of the community. If you're the only foreigner sitting at a table for dinner or something, you likely will be the one ending up holding the bill. Everybody just kind of slips away and the bill gets handed to you, and you kind of feel the obligation to pay for it. I had this with my wife's family. I have to pay regardless of where I'm at or where we're at. We go to a restaurant, the brother-in-law will kind of walk away with the baby, and nobody even pretends to reach for their wallet. They come to eat here at the house, I pay. They might bring some rice, a bag of rice, or some grubs, or some wild meat, lizard or something, frogs, to contribute to the food, but I pay. If I go visit them in their house, I pay. Even make the fake gesture, but there's none of that here. There's a tax to be involved with local person. There's a family tax. You're paying. The fourth type of tax are in places that you would not expect, and I've really felt that in the past 2 months. These are legitimate businesses that do this. And I have 2 specific cases. The first one was the car I just bought. And I told my wife, I want to buy it at a real shop. I don't want to buy it from an individual, because I trust that the shop is going to be more responsible and there'll be some more level of guarantee that everything is fine with the car. We bought this car. The car runs fine. And they put a big ribbon on the car. Ironically, they give you a case of beer with a new car. I'm like, yeah, that probably doesn't mix well. Smiling, everybody's happy. Before I took it from the lot, it's a second-hand car. They cleaned it. It looked nice. I specifically said the battery on all the fluids, have they been changed? Are they new? Yeah, everything's great. Oh, take a picture, take video. Here's your case of beer. Well, wouldn't you know it? A couple days ago, it wouldn't start. Fortunately, there's a shop right around the corner that had new batteries. And they were like, yeah, you need to have a new battery. Even if you charge it now, you're risking it not staying charged. I told the lady, we just bought this car. And I specifically asked the shop owner selling it, is everything new? And she said, yes. She said, oh yeah, they'll tell you that. She's laughing at me. And it might have been, when you first looked at it, what they sometimes do is they'll change to an old battery right before you come and pick it up. Unless you're smart enough to know to look. There's a level of trust when you buy these things. That there's a level of expectation you have for these shops. And that's why I wanted to buy from a shop, a legitimate business. And she's just laughing at me. Yeah, that's what we do here. That's how we do it. There's nothing I can do. And even if you have a local partner, they're like, yeah, that's the way we do it here. That's what happens. That's all it is. Bad luck, good luck. And the only thing I was hoping for wasn't a lemon. So far, so good. So far, it's just been a dead battery. They're going to tell you everything is great. Everything that they promised doesn't mean anything. And the second is something that happened 8 years ago when I bought this house. I asked him, does it have any water problems? I knew that would be a big one, especially when during the big rains here. Any leaks, nothing like that. Oh, no. Look at this drain over here. We've got these bricks up over here. 2 weeks after we moved in, we had a downpour. And the house was surrounded by flood coming into the kitchen because the kitchen is on a lower level. It was above my ankle. I was livid. When I bought the house, I said, I want this in the contract, that if there's any major issues with the house within 6 months, the owner will have to help finance, repair it. Agent put that in the contract. I called the agent, I sent him pictures, and he was like, sorry, the person who sold me the house is my neighbor. After that big rain, he came over and he just started shoveling. You could tell he was very embarrassed. And I'm like, you just lied to me. And my wife said something to him and he got insulted and he walked away. I think he was embarrassed. How can you think you're going to get away with that? We have rains here. I'm going to find out and you're my freaking neighbor. That just lied to your face. I had to pay several $1,000s to have a drainage system cut into the concrete around the house. So I invested almost another $10,000 just for that. And there's nothing I can do. There's no repercussion. You can have the contract, but it doesn't mean anything. I'm kind of past that. And it's aggravating because it's being deceived. I've had many other examples that I won't go into, but these are the taxes you're going to pay. And having a local is not going to do anything. Most of the people accept this. They're like, you got screwed this time. There's no class action you can take. There's no lawsuit you can take. People just accept it here. And you're going to have to accept it because it will happen. It might happen to you in a different way, whether you rent or you don't rent, whether you're married to a local or whether you're not married to a local. There is some economic arbitrage in this. In many cases, foreigners can tend to be wealthier. They view you as someone who has. It's a cultural perspective, sometimes something we might never understand. In some cases, you're going to be living more comfortably than a local person. We are living in a very simple Lao-style house. We don't have anything fancy here, except for the hunk of metal in the parkway. But you go around to these places, these houses might not look like much, but they've got nice cars. And the other thing is, you have a choice. You've chosen to be here. This is going to happen, but it doesn't mean I like it. I'll grumble. The point is, you cannot stay in that mindset. You have to be careful not to be around the expats too long because some of them will just grumble about these things constantly. It's like they're not getting to that stage. At some point, you've got to forget about it and move on. These are lessons. You could do everything possible to not let it happen, but it will happen. And you're going to have to budget for them and you're going to have to plan for them mentally and emotionally. So some practical tips to help you with this are: 1, know it's going to happen. Maybe not in these specific examples. You will have your own tax stories to tell. 2, learn as much of the language as you can. If you can go into the market and you can barter even just numbers and some small conversation with the local market or a taxi driver, that will win you some points and become as fluent as you possibly can. That should be a general rule anyway. When you move to a country, you need to learn the language. Build relationships for negotiating. Make relationships, be friendly and fun with the local people. Go in with a playful attitude, and people are very friendly. And if they see that you're friendly back, that really will go a long way. A smile, not being afraid to make mistakes. People are really enjoyable, especially here. Don't go flashing your wealth. It was one of the reasons I didn't want a big car. I feel like it's so pretentious. I ride an old motorcycle. It's 25 years old. It looks like crap. Purrs like a kitten. Costs me almost nothing. I don't wear jewelry. I don't wear fancy clothes. My wife always calls me a packpacker. She means backpacker. And I'm like, I want to look like that. I want to look as minimalist as possible, except that you're going to lose. Consider it tuition to live overseas. But no, it's going to happen. Some of what you lose in financially is what you gain with experience, making you emotionally stronger. Learn from it. You are not immune to these. And then sometimes just knowing it's going to happen can make the pain less. It's when you're surprised by some of them, like I was with the battery with this car and the house. Especially when there's some people you have to see every day. It's really hard sometimes. So living abroad can be a great experience, and I don't regret it. I'm happy I'm here. I'm happier I can be with my wife. But if you're planning to live abroad because you think it's cheap, remember there's going to be another cost that you're going to have to pay. Cheap doesn't mean equal. And a foreigner doesn't mean you're local either. Speaking the language, having a partner, that's not going to make you local as well either. So if you live abroad, I'd love to hear from any of your stories. And what's been your version of the cracker tax, the foreigner tax, the expat tax that I've talked about? I'd love to hear from you. Take care, everybody. God bless, and take it slow.